This video includes a paid sponsorship by Omaze. Help Omaze support the work of Give Power and 501c3 and enter for a chance to win a Tesla Model X Plaid. Find out more at omaze.com/cleanerwatt or click the link in the video description. The 2022 Tesla Model X Plaid is available with seating for up to 7 passengers, offers up to 92.3 cubic feet of cargo room, well over 300 miles of all-electric range, plus a host of luxury and entertainment features. Oh yeah, and let's not forget that the Plaid Model X is also the world's most powerful production SUV. However, beyond just SUVs, the Plaid Model X can even embarrass some two-door supercars at the drag strip. So in this video, we're going to dive into some real-world drag strip test results for the Plaid Model X and also some other supercars, and I'm going to show you why the Plaid Model X is really a supercar in disguise. I'm John, and welcome to Cleanerwatt. If you go over to Tesla's website right now, you can see that they list the quarter-mile time for the Plaid Model X at 9.9 seconds and the 0 to 60 mile per hour time at 2.5 seconds with the rollout subtracted. When it comes to a performance comparison between the Plaid Model X and some other performance SUVs that are on the market, as you can see on this chart, the Plaid Model X embarrasses even some of the top performance SUVs on the market. So in my opinion, it seems more appropriate to compare the Plaid Model X to other supercars, yes, even those two-door supercars which weigh a whole lot less. Keep in mind as we go through these comparisons in just a second that unlike a Lamborghini or some other two-door expensive exotic sports car, the Model X makes a great daily driver and also a great family car, but at the same time, it's impressive at the drag strip. We'll dive into these numbers and these supercar comparisons in just a minute, but before I do that, I want to talk about the sponsor of today's video, Omaze, and how you can enter for a chance to win a Plaid Model X while also helping Omaze support Give Power and 501c3. Give Power is on a mission to help roughly 2.2 billion people around the world who do not have access to safely managed drinking water. The nonprofit uses its deep solar expertise to power and provide clean water, food security, and light to regions in need around the world. In addition, 501c3 brings attention to the solutions that will help us build a cleaner, more sustainable, and more hopeful future. Their mission is to serve as a new type of nonprofit for a younger generation focused on energy, food, water, and shelter. If you go over to omaze.com/cleanerwatt, you can find out more about how you can enter for a chance to win a midnight silver metallic Plaid Model X while also helping Omaze support the work of Give Power and 501c3. As I showed you in the previous chart, when you compare the performance aspects of the Plaid Model X to some other performance SUVs on the market right now, the Model X embarrasses the competition. Therefore, in a lot of ways, it's better to compare the Plaid Model X, as I mentioned, to some supercars. So in this chart, you can see how the performance aspects of the Plaid Model X compare to some other supercars, including the Model S Plaid. These performance numbers become even more impressive when you realize how much heavier the Model X is compared to the other vehicles on this list. Here's a chart once again showing the curb weight of each of these vehicles, and as you can see, the Model X Plaid weighs almost 5,400 pounds, and the only other vehicle that's even close to that weight is the Porsche Taycan Turbo S. I find it quite amazing that an almost 5,400 pound SUV can beat a Porsche 911 Turbo S in a quarter mile, despite the fact that the Porsche 911 Turbo S weighs substantially less. This kind of performance really shows just how impressive this new Plaid powertrain is that Tesla engineered. And remember, this is the same Plaid powertrain that is also found in the Plaid Model S. This tri-motor Plaid powertrain consists of a single motor in the front and 2 motors in the rear. And as was revealed at the Plaid Model S event, engineering a tri-motor powertrain capable of this kind of performance was not an easy task. Here's how Elon Musk described this new Plaid powertrain at the Model S delivery event.
So we have an all-new battery pack. And then something we're really proud of is the new carbon-sleeved rotors for the motor. So this is the first time that to the best of our knowledge, there's been a a production electric motor that has a carbon overwrapped rotor. So this is a super hard thing to do because carbon and copper have at very different rates of thermal expansion. So in order to do a carbon overwrapped rotor, you've got to wind it at extremely high tension. It's a very hard thing to do. We actually had to design the machine that makes the rotor. So no such machine existed before. It also means we can have the electromagnetic field be super efficient and have a tight gap even at super high RPM. And it's single speed from 0 to 200 miles an hour. So it's just, the RPM is so crazy that just the centrifugal force wants to expand the rotor. So the carbon overwrap actually holds the rotor, basically holds the rotor together. It's like madness. It goes up to 20,000 RPM and maybe a little more.
Now, the Model X is a larger and heavier vehicle, but despite that, the performance numbers are still quite impressive even when compared to the Tesla Model S Plaid. As you can see on this chart, Tesla officially lists the 0 to 60 mile per hour time for the Plaid Model X at 2.5 seconds as compared to the Model S Plaid, which they list at 1.99 seconds. Of course, both of these 0 to 60 mile per hour times include the subtraction of the 1 foot rollout. And once again, as a reminder, Tesla lists the Model X Plaid quarter mile time at 9.9 seconds as compared to the Model S Plaid quarter mile time at 9.23 seconds. However, when it comes to real world test results, which we'll dive more into in just a minute, these numbers become even closer between the Model X and the Model S. For example, here are a few numbers that I've pulled from data that we'll talk about in just a minute, but according to drag times on YouTube, in real life situations without the 1 foot rollout subtracted, the Model X Plaid was able to achieve a 0 to 60 mile per hour time at just 2.63 seconds and a quarter mile time of just 9.78 seconds. In a separate previous test, drag times was able to achieve a 2.21 second 0 to 60 mile per hour time for the Plaid Model S, and also a 9.25 second quarter mile time for the Plaid Model S. However, when it comes to the new Plaid powertrain, we must go way beyond the 0 to 60 mile per hour and the quarter mile times because this new powertrain really gets exciting once you get past 60 miles per hour. It doesn't slow down like the previous generations of performance Teslas. Here's a comparison chart that Tesla put up at the Plaid delivery event. And as you can see, when you compare the horsepower curve of previous generations of performance Teslas, the Plaid Model X is able to sustain a much higher horsepower and a much flatter horsepower curve as compared to the previous generations. When it comes to just how impressive the Plaid Model X is beyond 60 miles per hour, in a February 21st Drag Times YouTube video, they were able to achieve with the Plaid Model X in their first run with a draggy device, a 60 to 130 mile per hour time of just 5.26 seconds. In addition, if you look at that 0 to 60 mile per hour time that they registered at 2.63 seconds, that number does not include the 1 foot rollout subtracted, and according to the driver, with VBox data, which does subtract the 1 foot rollout, that number was actually in the 2.3 range. For those of you who prefer kilometers per hour, they also captured the 0 to 100 kilometer per hour time, the 100 to 200 kilometer per hour time, and also the 0 to 200 kilometer per hour time. Now notice this was the first run, and with previous generations of performance Teslas, when it came to consecutive performance runs at a drag strip, there would be a performance degradation because of excessive heat buildup to protect the motors and the batteries. However, with the new Plaid powertrain and the improved thermal performance aspects of these vehicles, the Plaid Model X and also the Plaid Model S for that matter are great at repeat performance. Here's what Elon Musk had to say about this improved thermal management system at the Plaid Model S delivery event.
We also have the latest and greatest in heat pump, which is basically the HVAC system for the car. It's 30% better cold weather range. And requires 50% less energy for cabin heating in freezing conditions. So you'll see very little degradation in cold weather. And the radiator is twice as big for heat rejection. So you'll be able to actually do back-to-back 0 to 60s. As you'll see tonight, this car is just going to do over and over again, and it doesn't get winded.
So this consistent performance is once again demonstrated by this February 21st Drag Times YouTube video, where with their second run, they were actually able to beat a few of these numbers that they posted in the first run, and the 60 to 130 mile per hour time was completely identical between run 1 and run 2. When it comes to the Model X Plaid versus the Model S Plaid, once again using data from Drag Times YouTube videos, you can see how the Model S Plaid compares to the Model X Plaid in these same categories. More impressively though, when you compare the Model X Plaid to, say, the Taycan Turbo S, once again according to Drag Times, the Model X Plaid demolishes the Taycan Turbo S, especially when you look at the 0 to 130 mile per hour times. When it comes to comparing the 0 to 130 mile per hour times of the Plaid Model X to some of the supercars that we mentioned earlier, as you can see, the only two vehicles on this chart that are quicker from 0 to 130 miles per hour than the Plaid Model X are the Bugatti Chiron and the Plaid Model S. So although this new Plaid powertrain is super impressive from 0 to 60 miles per hour, where it really shines is beyond 60 miles per hour, as I've shown and as Drag Times has shown multiple times on their YouTube channel. I'd love to hear from you what you think about these performance comparisons in the comments section below. And also, would you rather own a Tesla Model S Plaid or a Tesla Model X Plaid? I once again want to thank the sponsor of today's video, Omaze, and remind you to go over to omaze.com/Cleanerwatt or click the link in the video description to find out more about how you can enter for a chance to win a Tesla Model X Plaid and help Omaze support the work of Give Power and 501c3. Well, thank you so much for watching this video all the way through to the end. I'd like to take a moment to thank the Patreon supporters who support me every month and help make this content possible. A special thank you to my performance supporters and also the other supporters listed on the screen. If you'd like to find out more about the Patreon community I've set up, I'll put a link in the video description. Thank you so much.